Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all for being here today in the State Emergency Operations Center here in Nashville, Tennessee. My name is Kristen Coulter, and I am the Communications Director with the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency. We appreciate you joining us as we provide an update on the expected winter weather impacting Tennessee this weekend and the steps being taken to prepare. Today's briefing will cover what we're expecting from this weather system, how the state and local partners are preparing, and what Tennesseans can do now to stay safe. We want to ensure the public has clear, timely, and accurate information as we head into the weekend. We're going to begin with remarks from Matt Reagan. He's the lead meteorologist from the National Weather Service in Nashville. We will also hear from Alex Pelham, TEMA Chief of Staff, Josh Brown, Tennessee Department of Transportation Traffic Operations Director, and Major Travis Plotzer, Tennessee Highway Patrol. For those of you in the room, the speakers' names, titles, and agencies are printed on the sheet of paper provided to assist with spelling and attribution. And for those of you joining us virtually, we have added the names to the description of this briefing. We ask that you please hold all questions until the end of this briefing so we can get through each speaker's remarks. And once all of the speakers have concluded, we'll open it up for questions. After the formal press conference concludes, media are welcome to remain on site until 6:30 for live shots or additional coverage. Members of our team will be available to assist if that's needed. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Matt Reagan, lead meteorologist with the National Weather Service in Nashville.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Even though it doesn't feel like it this afternoon, we are expecting the cold air to move into the region starting tomorrow. This will set the stage for Friday night, when we expect precipitation to move into West Tennessee after dark and overspread Middle Tennessee after daybreak on Saturday. We expect the precipitation to change from snow and freezing rain or sleet into sleet and freezing rain through the day on Saturday, and potentially transition back to snow as it exits the region on Sunday. We're particularly concerned with ice amounts from the freezing rain in southern, middle, and west Tennessee, where we do have an ice storm warning in effect. In that area, ice accumulations could exceed half of 1 inch. One thing to note about this system is the precipitation is here for a long duration, starting as early again as Friday night and continuing through the day on Sunday before exiting Tennessee. Behind the actual precipitation, we are expecting very cold temperatures early next week, with single digits expected Sunday night and Monday night, and below freezing temperatures continuing through at least Tuesday, and this will help prolong the impacts of the event. We ask people not to necessarily be concerned with the exact accumulation amounts of snow. This is going to be a mixed bag of precipitation, of sleet, freezing rain, and ice, all which will impact travel, especially beginning during the day on Saturday. We'll continue to update our forecasts as we get closer to the event and hopefully pin down the borderline of snow, sleet, and freezing rain. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Alex.
Thank you, Matt. That just shows a great example of the partnership we have with the National Weather Service and some of our other folks. I want to thank all of you again for being here, for helping us get this critical information to Tennesseans prior to any winter weather. A couple of quick updates. Earlier today at 2 p.m. Central, the State Emergency Operations Center activated to a Level 3 state of emergency, and Governor Bill Lee will be signing an executive order declaring that state of emergency later today. A couple of key messages I'd like to leave you with before I am done talking is, first, prepare now for what's coming. We have great weather service partners. We know there are certain things that we can do now and not do when the precipitation is here and the danger rises. First, look at your core supplies, things that you may have to have if you're in your house for 72 hours and you're not able to get out. This includes food, this includes medicine, things for your animals, and other potential things like batteries. Second part, check on your neighbors. Some people may live alone, some people may not have the support system around them. We'd ask that you look for those that may be elderly, that may live alone, and check in on them. Second, the coordination is not just what you see for the speakers today. we've been working for multiple days, leaning forward, working with our local partners on both county emergency management, public safety, as well as other like departments of transportation. So with that, we also have TEMA staff that are embedded daily in both blue skies and gray skies, and those district coordinators are out there working with our local mayors, our local county emergency managers, and fire chiefs to ensure that preparedness efforts are taking place. We're also working with the American Red Cross and other shelter providers to ensure that we have warming centers and potential overnight shelters should the local authorities open them, that we can relay that information to our folks. The last thing that I would leave you with is, unless you have to travel, stay off the roads. So essential travel, obviously you need to do it if it's life safety, if it's needs for what you have. But by staying off the roads, it helps you stay safe with ice. Even a small amount of ice can lead to a hazard. The other part is it allows our partners with TDOT to keep the roads clean, to get them plowed, and to make it safe for our responders as they respond to emergencies that occur during this. So you'll hear more from TDOT, you'll hear more from THP about safety efforts that they can do, that you can do for preparation wise. But remember, prepare now, stay informed, and be safe. Thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Josh Brown, Traffic Operations Director from TDOT.
Thank you, Alex, and thank you everyone for being here this afternoon. My name is Josh Brown, Traffic Operations Director with Tennessee Department of Transportation. I want to thank our friends at TEMA, National Weather Service, and the Tennessee Highway Patrol. We have a great partnership with these agencies and couldn't do what we do without them. The Tennessee Department of Transportation is fully prepared for the upcoming winter weather event expected to impact our state over the next few days. This is something that we actually plan for months in advance. And I want to assure Tennesseans that our crews, equipment, and materials are ready to go. Our 2026 winter operations budget, which is actually more than $30 million, is already at work across all 95 counties, with snow plows and brine trucks having been already prepared, our salt bins having been fully stocked, and most importantly, the dedicated men and women of our department, who are the ones out there doing the work, are positioned and ready to respond when called upon. Our help team is also ready. These are TDOT's first responders. You see them in the yellow trucks. They will be out patrolling our interstates, assisting motorists, responding to incidents. We have adjusted their schedules to provide around-the-clock coverage to ensure they're out there throughout the entirety of the event. Our operators are well trained. Their trucks are fully equipped, and they are ready to assist motorists as needed and also assist our partner agencies. So when the snow hits, our first priority as a department will be to treat the interstates and heavily traveled state routes, especially bridges, ramps, hills, and curves. During prolonged storm events like the one forecasted for this weekend, roads actually may need to be treated more than once so that they can remain passable. I do want to emphasize one critical point, one that's already been mentioned. If you do not have to be on the roads during this event, please stay at home. The more space our crews have to do their work, to do their job, means they can do it quicker, getting the roads cleared in a more efficient manner, but also it keeps them safe and keeps you safe as well. Nothing is more important to us than the safety of the motoring public and of our employees. For traffic updates, road condition information, live camera feeds, visit our TDOT SmartWay website. And you can also find this information by calling 511. So thank you very much. I'm going to turn it over now to my friend, Major Travis Plotzer.
Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it. First, I want to thank TEMA for hosting this media briefing and for the work in coordinating the state's response. During this weather event, we will be in constant contact with TDOT, TEMA, and our local partners. TDOT's collaboration and their efforts are amazing how well they work with law enforcement to make sure the motoring public is safe during these events. Our local partnerships, we're grateful for those. From law enforcement to police, fire, EMS, sheriff's deputies, local EMAs, and volunteer firefighters, they're all essential to make sure Tennesseans are safe. But this is part of a One Tennessee effort to make sure everyone is safe and no one's left stranded. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention our local tow truck operators, who are an essential piece to this effort to help keep roadways open if somebody becomes stuck in the ditch. Bottom line, you've heard it mentioned several times today, it's about partnerships, both public and private. That's what makes Tennessee the best state in the nation, and Tennesseans are blessed and they're safer because of these partnerships. Oftentimes we're asked, how are we preparing? State troopers and dispatchers aren't just punching a clock. They're working around the clock to make sure every stretch of interstate's run out looking for stranded motorists. But we want to get to these motorists before the cold does. We're clearing the way. We're aggressively clearing these roadways, especially what's on the shoulder of abandoned vehicles, so emergency units can respond when seconds matter. Weather preparedness, we want you to know before you go. You just heard Josh Brown from TDOT talk about their map that's out there. Check these maps for real-time conditions. If the forecast calls for snow or ice, the best thing to do is stay off the roads if you don't have to. You've heard that mentioned before, and that's a constant theme. There's essential workers that must be out to keep America going. Make sure your vehicles are prepared. Ensure your battery's fully charged. Make sure you have the proper tread depth and tire pressure in your tires. Check your antifreeze levels as well. Keep your gas tank full as possible in the event you do get stranded, so you can try to stay warm. If you're having to let your vehicle run for warmth, please be mindful of carbon monoxide and make sure the exhaust pipe is clear of any debris. Please check your emergency kits in your vehicle. Make sure they have blankets, batteries, flashlights, water, snacks, things in case you're stuck there for an extended period. I want you to remember, ice and snow, just take it slow. That is, if you must be out. These speed limits that are set, they're set for sunny days, ideal driving conditions, not slippery surfaces. Increase your following distance from other vehicles around you. It takes longer and more distance to stop on a slick road. You heard Josh briefly mention about the TDOT worker and safety of others. Please don't crowd the plow. The snow plows are out there. They're there to keep the roadway safe. They need space to work. In the event of emergency, please give us a call at star THP. That's star 847 from your cell phone, and we will get help to you as quick as possible. Be prepared. Provide your location and vehicle description to the dispatchers. This will help us locate you quickly. If you're unaware where you are, please use your map feature on your phone. This should aid you. Move over for first responders. If you see emergency vehicles on the shoulder, slow down and move over. Our troopers and first responders are most vulnerable when they're outside their vehicles working. This move over law even applies to TDOT help trucks, TDOT workers, and tow truck operators. Please be safe. Finally, I want to thank our media partners and the public for their compliance and their efforts to prepare for this winter weather event that's coming. Thank you. Kristen, thank you so much.
That concludes our formal remarks. So at this point, we're happy to take any questions that you might have.
I was going to ask Travis real quick if they were going to, if the TDOT trucks were going to assist and maybe help pull people out and stuff like that.
Could you do your question one more time, Nikki?
The TDOT trucks, you know, that when they have the flashers on
Yes.
everything, will they assist helping pulling people out if they need to?
We have a great partnership with TDOT. Their efforts are second to none, and yes, they'll be assisting folks, but Josh, if you don't mind answering some of the efforts, please. He can.
Okay.
Yeah, be glad to. The HELP program, the yellow trucks that I mentioned, these folks are trained and their trucks are equipped to do just that, and it's something that they're ready to do. So yeah, if there's someone stranded, stuck in the snow, you know, they do a number of these every year. So yeah, we'll be glad to offer that service.
Josh, how many snow plows are we going to have out there throughout this event?
So we're gathering that information. I believe that has been put on our website, if I'm not mistaken. But the total number thus far, I don't have that exactly for you. So.
Do you know how many pounds of salt you're going to be using to brine the roads?
Yeah, I sure do. 200. Do you have that, Beth? You got it. Okay. Yep.
In
Two.
terms, in terms of treating the roads, are there any issues with the mix? Are there any challenges of that, like in terms of precipitation types? Are there any challenges with that goes?
So, they're already putting the brine down, as you've probably seen, and that's what the treatment that's used before the snow gets here. Then after the snow comes, they will be putting down the salt, to treat the roads. So yeah.
In terms of like freezing rain, does that pose any issues?
Well, I mean, um, the, there's not a, I guess, a perfect solution for that, and the freezing rain is something that does cause a concern for motorists, and that's why we encourage people to stay at home if at all possible. Yeah.
Do you see that's probably the worst scenario is the ice? I mean, I've been driving for years and I think I'm a good driver, but ice just scares the hell out of me.
Yeah, there's nothing. That's right. Ice it is dangerous. Snow is dangerous, but if you get the ice involved as well, and it not only puts the motorist in danger, but it puts our people in danger who are out there trying to do their job and keep the roadways clear for us. So yeah.
Would you have any guidance with how to drive in the snow versus how to drive in the ice?
Yeah, I can go to what I tell my children, right?
That'd be great.
Yeah. So you don't want to follow too closely, number one. Travis mentioned the speed limits. I believe Major Plotzer mentioned the speed limits. Those are designed for optimal conditions. Be it rain, sleet, snow, or ice, you need to be going below the speed limit, right? Don't follow too closely. But again, our main message is to stay at home unless you just absolutely need to be out. So, yep. Thank you.
The southern part of our state, Matt mentioned, was going to get maybe an inch of ice. What communications has anybody had with the local power utilities, and how are they preparing?
So we continue to work with our local partners through our emergency support functions with our partners at TDEC. We continue to stay involved with Tennessee Valley Authority on what's going on. We work through our local county emergency management to determine if there are any potential concerns or if there are any potential resource requests. Should that come up and there be a concern from those locals, that'll be routed up through the counties to the State Emergency Operations Center to where we can see if we can help meet that need.
I mean, with that much ice, we're going to have power outages. There's going to be trees down. Is there already a plan to request assistance from other agencies, power utilities?
Yeah, so the way we go about that is the way we would go about it in any other disaster in our resource request process. So like I said in my statements earlier, we have what are called district coordinators that are out in the field all the time. These are the folks that know the mayors, they know the county first responders, and they know the process of how they can reach out, whether it's through mutual aid, that's one of the county-to-county mutual aid, or whether it be an energy authority mutual aid, or if they come here and we have to do something with an out-of-state mutual aid partner to where we would process that through something called the Emergency Management Assistance Compact, or EMAC.
I remember the last big one we had here that was 14 inches that paralyzed the city. I remember they struggled with getting ambulances, and did you guys talk about that time? Like, with people that were having a heart attack or a stroke or something like that, and ambulances were having trouble getting there. What can you do there?
Yeah, so obviously no two storms are alike. So the 14 inches, I think what we've seen is in most of these, in the new, as Matt had talked about, those numbers have gone down dramatically. With the snow, we're looking at more of that ice mix in some of these areas. But working with partners like TDOT, our local highway departments, that is how we continue to remain communicative, working with them on potential hazards. And we can, through this coordination, we can get information from the locals. And if there are access issues, we can work with TDOT and those local partners to get those cleared. And we, because of what we do in what we call blue skies and the times where the disasters aren't here, it allows us to fall back on these relationships that we have. And it makes us more efficient and more effective.
You talk a lot about relationships, but what are the plans and the steps that are being done now to make that difference? We're just talking a couple of days now. We're going to be hit with a lot of ice.
So if we're talking, are we talking energy specific?
Anything.
Or, well, I think you heard some of what TDOT talked about. I mean, we're communicating a lot of these needs, and I think part of that is communicating to folks. If you don't need to be out, don't be out. Because getting the communication out there, being able to talk to our folks through you guys, through social media, through other traditional mediums, that is the important part. Because if you're out there on ice, you ask the question, you know, what's the safest way to drive on ice? Don't. That's the safest way to drive on ice. And so working with these partners, you have local EOCs that are being stood up. You have departments of transportation going out and hitting known places. That's the way we're pulling this together right now. And I would also tell you, we're also being flexible with this, because if you looked at the forecast 2 days ago, it's a significantly different forecast, where we were looking at roughly 14 inches of snow in parts of close to here. And now we're not. So being nimble, building on relationships that we've built in past disasters. Unfortunately, we have a lot of practice in working with our partners during disasters. So those relationships, those methods that we use, the processes that we've trained for and built on, will allow us to continue to be successful in emergency response in Tennessee.
In terms of power outages, can you speak a little bit more to the warming shelter aspect of this? How do you determine where is going to be a warming shelter? Is it places that have generators? And then also, how can people find, if they need a warming shelter, where should they be looking if they lose power and they need to find somewhere?
Great question. So warming centers and shelters are set up by our local authorities. They go and determine the need from their communities as to what's going on, whether it be power outages or any other problems that they may need them. The part where you can go and you can find information is, I would tell you to follow your local emergency management agency on social media. Look for the TEMA website. There's a banner at the top that'll take you to disaster-specific information, whether it be warming centers or shelters. So those are a couple of really easy ways that you can go about finding that information.
And are those shelters, are we confident that they're going to have electricity if the power goes out?
Yes, I will say that, you know, as we work with our partners, you know, I'm not going to sit here and tell you 100% that everything will be absolutely flawless. But as we communicate with our partners, as they've worked through the sheltering plans that they have, we build in those things like ADA accessibility. We build in those things like power, whether it's generators, topping off with diesel. That's, you know, some of the ways that we work through preparing.
I have one more for you, Josh. Don't mind.
Yes, ma'am.
So you said that interstates are going to be more of a focus, and then those heavily used roads, secondary roads, neighborhood roads are kind of down the line, and also the freezing temperatures might prolong the entire situation. So what would you tell homeowners who might be trapped a little bit about when they can see some improvement on their streets?
Well, really, you know, it's hard to answer that question until the weather gets here, right? I mean, our folks are going to be working around the clock, clearing just as fast as they can. We coordinate with the local agencies as well, who also maintain to a degree the roads within their jurisdictions. So as soon as the weather allows, we will then start treating more of the state routes as well. So yeah, we'll be out there around the clock working on that for sure.
So you wouldn't be able to say like what days specifically?
No, it's hard to say that until the event gets here, and then, you know, we see how things are progressing throughout. So
Could I ask how much more are we expecting this forecast to change? Or is this pretty locked in, or are we stuck?
No, I wouldn't say that this forecast is locked in. We have seen, again, kind of the shift from the focus being snow over to a mix to even freezing rain. As usual in Tennessee, it seems like we're always on that dividing line between snow and the freezing rain and sleet. So that line could still vary a little bit north and south. So we're not going to lock on a single model. We'll continue to monitor the forecast trends, the model trends. But, you know, I'm not here to say that this forecast is concrete. You know, we do have the ice storm warning out in the area where we have the highest confidence of the highest ice amounts.
All right, we're going to conclude questions at this point. I would just encourage everyone to go to the TEMA website. We're going to continue posting updates throughout this weather event and all of our social media. We do use X as our primary mode of communication during these kinds of events. So you can absolutely find more information as we produce it in those places. Thank you all so much for joining us.